Nina, Paulina, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Risa. Really nice to see you today, too.
Nice to meet you.
Is that true that you're both architects?
Yep.
Yeah, we are architects. We are
I
Mexican architect and Bulgarian Mexican architect.
That's amazing. It's amazing. I want to get into what actually brought you two together to partner to create a business where you're building homes, residential, commercial, and even yachts. Um, and what that process is like. But before we kind of talk about that, I would love to know a little bit more about the both of you. Nina, as you mentioned, you're from Bulgaria, and Paulina, you're from Mexico. So tell me a little bit about where you studied, why choose Mexico, why choose Cabo as your place of business?
All right, should I
you
start? So I came from Bulgaria 26 years ago, and I went to Mexico City, and I always wanted to be an architect, so I went to study there, as Mexico has a very unique and interesting architecture during the centuries, and modern architecture also very cool and well developed. So I was very fortunate to be able to go and study in Mexico. And I loved it there so much, so I decided just to become a Mexican and live there. And later in life, I met my husband, and when we had a little kid, we decided to look for a place to have a child grow without him being in the big city and with busy traffic and life like this. So Cabo was a very nice place when we came here almost 16 years ago. It was growing a lot with a lot of opportunities for architects like me and for doctors as my husband. And we don't regret it. We are very happy being in this paradise.
Not a bad place to work, that is for sure.
Not at
It's
all.
an amazing place to work. It's amazing place to live. You can see your family, because in Mexico City or in big cities it's difficult, because you go to work and probably you leave early in the morning and you come late at night, and you don't have that quality of life that we get when living here.
And what about you, Paulina?
Well, I was born in Mexico City, and I moved to Guadalajara when I was very young. So I was practically raised there. I studied architecture. Just like Nina, I always wanted to be an architect. My father is a construction engineer, so I've sort of always been around construction and architecture. So I studied there. Then I went to Barcelona, and I studied a master's degree in interior design. I worked and studied there for 4 years. And then I came back to start my own studio in Guadalajara. And then I got married, and my husband was already living here because he loved Baja. He just wanted to move. He's from Guadalajara as well. And we started dating, and then we got married, and I moved here. And I had to start over because I already had my little studio in Guadalajara. So I just started knocking on doors and trying to get on some projects. I started with interior design, and then Nina and I met through our husbands, and it's like, well, it's fun to have another architect around. We tried collaborating in so many projects, and it never happened. And then one day during the pandemic, right at the beginning, at 2020, I got a call from Nina, and she said, I have new clients for a home, and I'm tired of working alone. I want to partner up. I want to do this with a friend, and I want to have fun doing it. So we started with that home, and it's been nonstop ever since. And we've had a blast. I mean, get along so well. We're very different. We're very opinionated and strong-minded and stubborn at times, but it's never like it never transcends to our personal. We never fight. I mean, we argue all the time, but we never fight. We're always in sync, and if we can't get an agreement, we let the client decide.
That's awesome. I love that you both have this kind of European slash Mexican influence, right? That I'm sure informs all of your art and your design, which is amazing. So, you know, you talk about it's not easy having a business partner, right? Especially if you're both architects, like you're both do the same job. So what does each one of you bring to a project, let's say?
Say it right.
You?
Well, I'm more of a desk architect. I love the drafting, design process. I think I'm good at it. I have a lot of experience in residential. That was my main background before. Nina's a great designer as well, but she gets uneasy when she's locked in the office. She likes the field. She loves the construction side. I'm more of a. That's why I studied interior design, to get onto the pretty side of design where you don't get your shoes as dirty. Then I found out it's a lie. You always have to get your shoes dirty. But in that way, we compensate a lot of our work. And then Nina's a specialist in lighting. So when it comes to lighting, she's the boss, and she will design, and she's amazing at it. If it's more finishes, she will just say that it's your turn, you do the finishes. So we like to do different stuff, like our passions are different. So
We complement.
Yeah, we complement each other a lot.
That's amazing. That's so amazing. I love this idea of like, you know, for example, that you love lighting, Nina, and then Paulina, you love kind of all the fixtures and the detailed stuff. So Nina, I have a question for you, because I love interior design. I love architecture. My dad was a sculptor, so I always had, you know, and I'm of Japanese descent, so, you know, from birth, you know, design and aesthetics is always really important, and it was always important growing up. And I feel like a lot of people underestimate the power of lighting, right? And how important it is in a space, and how it could create completely different vibe depending on what kind of lighting you choose.
That's totally true. Yeah, I remember when finishing the. I always worked while studying the architecture. So my last job was in a lighting firm, and I didn't know much about it. They needed somebody to know a little bit of architecture and to sell. But when I started getting into it and I saw how it transforms the architecture, I fell in love with it, because sometimes people, they don't, nowadays I think they appreciate it a little bit more, and there's more education about it and a lot of options. But in probably 15, 20 years ago, a person can spend a lot of money on finishes on their million pesos kitchen, with this amazing granite or the materials, and suddenly they put this horrible can light that it makes everything looks uniform and boring and like from 50 years ago. I don't know, like the light is very important, and it can transform a simple place or a simple piece of furniture into something that looks very elegant or very high-end. It represents well the wood color, the makeup studio. If you don't have a good lighting, or people will look not very nice after going out of there. But in homes is important too, and for your state of mind it helps also.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So what would you say is your aesthetic? as the Architects by the Sea?
Well, I think we have our preferences to do contemporary architecture. Here in Baja, our clients are looking for a lot of open areas of big windows,
Light.
airy, light views. So it gets well with our design preference, which is new materials, earthy colors. You wanna compliment?
Yeah, well, when I first got here, and Nina's been here longer than I have, I've been here for 12 years. The aesthetic was very much the hacienda style, which we feel it's a little bit more Spanish Revival or Malibu kind of aesthetics. And I think we just got together at a point when people were tired of that style and were looking for something more modern. So it was perfect because that's exactly what we like and what we do. So even our clients, we have all range of ages. Even our older retired clients want edge and want innovation and want newer materials and newer looks. So it was perfect for us because we're really committed to doing the stuff that we love. I mean, there's sometimes styles that we don't feel comfortable with, and we know there's someone that's a lot better than us to developing that style. So we directly are very honest with our clients, and we say it's not a specialty, so we don't do that. We'd rather do something more modern. And our clients actually look us up sometimes through our webpage because of our style, because they want something fresher and newer and more relaxed and lighter, like Nina says.
Yeah, and true to the materials also. If it's a stone, it's a stone. If it's concrete, you can see it. If it's
Wood,
wood or barro,
clay.
clay. So yeah, we try to use the natural elements, materials, and make them also stars of the projects.
Yeah, I was looking at some of your work, and it's gorgeous, really, really beautiful. And I see these homes, and I've traveled to Mexico quite a bit, and there's a lot of construction happening now, as you know, whether it's big high rises or it's private residential buildings or even commercial buildings. Can you talk to me a little bit about the process, right? Because I do get this question, not a lot, but often enough, where people are interested in purchasing a piece of land and they want to build a house on it. That sounds really nice in theory, but of course, once you start getting into it, it's so complicated, and there are a lot of decisions that need to be made. So how do you work with your clients, and really what is the overall kind of big picture process of building a home in Mexico?
I don't know, maybe 20 years ago when Cabo was really small still, a lot of people just worked on spec homes, and people purchased a home and everything was there and everything was done. But then a lot of people started coming to Baja, and there's all these gorgeous lots. People started being a little bit more brave about purchasing a lot and going through the process that we've heard from our clients that even in the States it's scary to buy an empty lot and do a custom home. So a lot of people were scared of, okay, it's a lot of money and it's a foreign country, etc. So we are very, very clear with our process. We always try to explain step by step. The project, we like to develop a full project with all the technicals. We have a great team of engineers that helps us with structure and all the pipe, plumbing, sewage, everything. It's well planned. So when the construction comes, it's all there. And for us, it's very important to explain that there's for example, a 3-month process for the permits. But there's a lot of things that you can do while the permits are being done. And so we try to walk our clients step by step and show them that it's safe. It's different because we don't build with timber, we build with concrete and with a cinder block. It's so sturdy, it's so firm. I mean, we live in a hurricane prone area, so it's better for this part of the world to have very sturdy constructions. And also Mexico is a ¿cómo se dice? Earthquake risk. So every structural engineer are very meticulous, and so are we, about structure, because we know earthquakes are happening in Mexico. So we try to be super meticulous about the structure, so they won't have any problems. If anything happens, their house is safe with us. We are very we love the process, and we love all the technicalities as well, not just the design. We enjoy every part, and we like to explain our clients. Some like to know more than others. Some people just have a previous knowledge of construction, but we like to be very open about everything that we go through in the process.
Yeah, and it's important for foreigners to know that the process here is a little bit probably longer on the building side, because I know that permits in the States also can take long time, because you have to go through a lot of permits, yeah. So once you get there, probably the building is faster because of the construction systems. And here we have had clients that get surprised. Wow, it's been 2 months and we're still pouring concrete for foundations. But that's why when we have a foreigner customer, we try to explain very, very clearly. And another thing that is different, Paulina, who tells this to our clients, in Mexico it's normal to have an architect that designs and then builds your house. In the States, and I don't know in Canada, but in the States you have the building architect, the
contractor.
You have different teams that do that. Here you can have different teams, but if you already have your trust in somebody, that you work well during the design process, that you feel comfortable, sometimes, like us, we continue with the process through the building, so that way we all are on the same page, and the process is a little bit easier for both parts.
Yeah, because we know the project so well that we know it by heart. When we get to the construction site, we know exactly how things are supposed to be and to look. But it is common in Mexico that most architects build. I mean, a lot of us do.
That makes so
It's
much
a common
sense.
practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are some of the things that are different, so we just wanted to mention them too.
Yeah. I mean, so would you say are some of the challenges of building, especially, I mean, most of your clients, if not all your clients, are in Cabo or kind of Baja,
Yeah, Baja.
which is, I feel like the air, maybe I'm wrong, but, it's more of a desert climate. So,
Definitely, yeah.
So you have a lot, I don't know, I feel like you have a lot more stone. Like, I feel like it's a little bit different than, say, mainland Mexico in terms of building, like the things that you have to really be thinking about. And I'm sure your teams are always thinking about. Like, I love the fact that, you're already aware and you're thinking about, making it hurricane proof, making it earthquake proof, thinking about all those things, before you even build anything.
Oh, yeah.
Which is amazing, right? And that's specific to your area as well.
Yeah.
And another thing that is specific is obviously the ocean and the beautiful views that it represents. So sometimes the lots that give you the best views are very steep lots, very difficult to build. But when you stand up in those breathtaking views that you see the first time, that the clients say, "Look what I bought," and that's something that we always have to consider also in our projects from the beginning. The the views from the most livable areas possible, the wind, the breeze, the orientation, the sun.
The cross breeze.
Because here we live a lot outside too. We have a lot of our life in Cabo is in the terrace, in the barbecue, on the outdoor, in the pool. So this is something that we consider from the beginning with most of our projects by the sea. That's why our name.
But even living by the water has its own challenges, right? That you have to think about when building, because the ocean water can be pretty harsh, which
It's
I
aggressive.
think people don't realize until they live there, and their appliances are going. They have to replace their appliances, or they have to replace, all the things.
In the water.
Yeah. No, seriously, I've been, because I direct episodes of House Hunters, I've been in thousands of homes, and and a lot of those homes are often by the water, and it can be pretty brutal, I feel like. So
Yeah.
so in terms of like if your clients are working with you and they want to build a house from start to finish, like how many stages are there and how much time generally? I mean, I know it's hard to predict the exact times, but like if someone wanted to build a 3-bedroom home or whatever, like what is this trajectory look like? What kind of timeline, what kind of stages are we looking at?
Ay, so in the project process, we the project, the designs and everything takes between around 6 months, because it takes probably 2-3 months with the client to going back and forth with the concept, how the house is gonna look. This is a time that the client is really involved with us, because we have to get to the deepest desires that they have for that new home. And after that, it takes us around 2-3 months to develop the technical part of the project, and then we are looking for permits. Permits also is around 3 months. So if your idea is to have like a 4,000 or 5,000 square feet home, probably from first draft to finishing building, the process is around 2 years with the building included. Bigger homes, of course, with more complexity will take longer. Smaller homes on
flat land.
on flat lots will take less. There is so many ingredients that we have to consider, but most of it is the topography, size, and finishes. If somebody wants to bring stuff from Italy, well, it's
Right.
probably take
Take
longer.
and an important thing to consider also that we always tell our clients is that Baja is practically an island. So to get stuff here takes time. Sometimes the boat, the ferry is not working. I mean, things happen that might delay delivery of some stuff. So yes, practically an island. So we live in an island.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense, right? Are there any kind of misconceptions that people have about building in Mexico that you find, for foreigners are often, they think it's
No,
one thing and it's completely different, or like the
Well,
kind of advice you give them?
I think it's more the difference that we have with construction system, with timing. Sometimes there is people that, for example, had bad experience. They say to their friends, "Don't." I mean, you can always have a bad contractor that you hired somewhere, or I mean that happens everywhere in the world, right? But it's I don't know,
Building, it's a very stressful process. I think for everyone who's been through a construction or remodel, know it's stressful, it's time consuming. So I guess the misconception here is that in Mexico everything is cheaper and faster, and it's not. Not in Baja. Baja, I mean, it's not as expensive as LA, for example, or other parts of the world, but it's an island, so it's not as cheap as you would think building here, because it takes some extra process to move the materials. Yeah, that might be a misconception. And a lot of people come to us and say, I've done 10 remodels in the US, and we're like, this is nothing like what you've done before. It's a very, very different process. And it's, especially for remodels, we have to open cinder block walls. It's not as easy as throwing down sheetrock.
Sheetrock.
It's harder to remodel here. Everything's structurally involved, so I think with remodels that might be a big misconception that it's easy to tear down walls. It's not really. It takes time. We like bringing professionals for structural evaluation, etc. So that might be another thing that
Right.
people dive in.
That's so interesting. Are there certain kinds of materials that you recommend people work with? Like, whether it's certain kinds of wood, that do better in Baja or in Mexico versus, like you say, like everything is cinder block and concrete foundations, and the walls are all made out of concrete, where, in the United States, a lot of it is 2x4s and, sheetrock, and which is a completely different kind of way to construct a house. Are there other things, whether it's stone or, I don't know, materials that you recommend people be thinking about when they're, looking to build a home in Mexico? Definitely. So, for example, a friend of mine often talks about like what kind of furniture to bring down. And they're like, if you have a leather couch, don't bring your leather couch to Mexico.
No.
Right? So these are but these are things that people don't even know or don't even think about because of the humidity or whatever. But if I'm going to, build my dream home, do you ever advise, like, I understand, but, don't, you definitely, using stone is a good idea, or using this, these kind of fixtures, or using these kind of, is advisable versus whatever.
Yeah, definitely. It's we always do that with clients. For example, wood on floors, natural wood on floors. I mean, it has to be some really, really high quality, or outdoor wood, or something or some engineering product that is very, very high in quality that you can use on wood floors, for example, in Cabo. So, for example, if somebody wants the look, we recommend better to use the artificial materials. Some ceramics or porcelainic materials are now making wood looks. Okay, they have really nice quality, very nice design, zero maintenance. So we recommend that, or some. There are so many new products right now that imitate natural products too.
We'd rather not use them, but if
Uh-huh.
their mind is very set on wooden floors,
Yeah.
then you have to think that something that's durable for the weather here.
Yeah. Also, for example, metallic structures. You don't want to have exposed metallic structures in front of the ocean.
Yeah.
Because the maintenance is going to be non-stop. I mean, they're good finishing materials that you can use to protect, but still you have to be committed to maintain it all the time. So yes, definitely the leather, as you mentioned, even in the furniture, but in our clothes, in our shoes, we don't use a pair of shoes for 2 years, for example, because they're just for weddings. And suddenly you decide to use them, they fall apart. It's very aggressive. the saline weather that we have
Well,
here.
and the dryness of everything that has some glue on it, it just dries off because it's so dry here.
Yeah, Um, so yeah, we definitely sit with the clients and tell them in the beginning if they have some special requirements like this. We already know what to make as a proposition in the projects because we know which materials work better. But if they come with something more extravagant or that is not from the area, we always give them the suggestion either to change it or to see what other options we have so they don't lose the aesthetics that they desire. But they don't get in trouble while living, having to maintain, to change, to...
Do you have a favorite project that you two worked on where, you know, I'm sure with every project you're learning quite a bit, right? I just feel like no matter what the project is, there's always something to learn, right? Whether it's terrain or it's a new material that you're using or it's a new, you know. Are there projects where you're like, this is like what was in my mind and, you know, now it's now it's real and it became what you thought it was going to become?
I know which one, but I don't think we agree,
Which one?
Chris.
Okay.
And we were just there and we're so, I mean, the owner's already living there and we were visiting a site with other clients in that area. And we went by the house and it was so exciting to see all the lights on and the fans were working and they were home and they were using the house. And for me, I don't know, I enjoyed that process a lot. And although some things changed in the way, I think that Laguna Hills house was
Yeah.
yeah, I love that
Yeah.
project.
I feel I get excited every time that I go to whatever project we do. Sometimes you see when you see it grow in front of you, it's like a kid. You cannot say which kid you love the most.
Yeah, it's true.
I actually get excited with each of them. I mean, even if it's a remodeling and you know how it was before and you see it how it's now.
That's exciting.
I always say my eyes start pouring hearts, even in the process, even if it's not finished. So I know that one that Paul talks about is a very nice house and it just finished. So it's probably the newest one
That's been finished.
that's been done, and the client is happy, is living there. But I felt like this with each of the projects and its moment.
I see it.
That's amazing. I recently redid my kitchen and it was so painful but so fun at the same time, you know?
Good. Yeah, it's a love-hate relationship.
Exactly. So if people are looking to, say, remodel their home, are there certain things that you ask them to keep in mind? I mean, there's just so, you know, there's beautiful aesthetics, but then there's also functionality, right? And it's important to create that balance. And I feel like a lot of times either people want it too functional or they're only thinking about the design. So when you go in the space, it looks pretty, but it doesn't function very nicely. So how do you educate your clients in terms of how to create and think about their spaces?
It's hard to educate adults.
I agree.
And I'm saying that for myself as well. We try our best to explain to our clients what would work best in our experience, with their budget. Sometimes we just let them do. I mean, we can't be like there. We're not living there, so we try and be super empathetic about what they want and what we think it's functional. But in the end, it's their house, so we sort of let them do what they want to do.
Yeah, it's good part that we are on a team here, because this is one of the parts where when we complement a lot with
We
Pau.
do good cop, bad cop.
and it happens naturally. And with some clients, I am like, oh, we can do this, we can do that, we can do that, and Pau is, but we have to take care of the budget, but we have to take care of that. But so one of us is excited and the other one is pushing down. And then with other clients,
It's a reverse.
reverse. Oh no! If you do this, it's not gonna work. It's not functional. It's not practical. And then the client say, but I want to do what I want to do. So then she's okay. Let's see how we can. So,
It takes a lot of psychology
but
to convince a client of. But we don't want to impose. What I was trying to say is that we don't like imposing our beliefs or our costumes or our.
but sometimes when it's for functionality or for price.
Yeah, we try
We have to say something, because if it's aesthetics, probably you don't speak the same language aesthetic wise, but you say, okay, it's your house, you're gonna be happy every day when you stand up and sit. I'm gonna tell you my opinion, but you can do whatever you like. But if it's budget related or function related, we try to be a little bit more strict. At the end of the day, as Pau is saying, we are not going to force anybody to do anything. Probably they're going to say, I'm going to sell my car, but I'm going to have it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough, right? Because, even when I was redoing my kitchen, there were certain things that I wanted or I thought I wanted, and the contractor, who was a family friend, and I would have these long conversations about why this is not good to do this, and he would convince me, because obviously he has a lot more experience. So if you have a lot more experience, they would be, building something in Mexico in a foreign country, also if they're foreigners, is a whole other level of just understanding and making sure that you do it right. You don't want to make big mistakes when building a house.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That's also why we insist a lot in developing very complete project from the beginning, because we have had the experience that we make it over we say, okay, let's do this small remodel. Oh, but now let's do this. But now let's do that. Let's add that. And suddenly the client is, why am I spending so much? Well,
because you're adding and adding all the time.
Because the thing grew, right? It evolved during the process. So we try not to do that. Not to do that again.
No matter how much in a hurry our clients are, we need to know what's going to be, what it's going to look like plan ahead. Even if it's a house that's going to be built in phases, for example, we draft the whole project, because then we know what it's going to look like, and it's not patching it up in the end in the future in 2 years, and now I want this, because we've seen projects like that and they feel patched up. So we always convince them, okay, it's okay if you want to build in 2 phases, but let's draft the whole project. Let's have a complete concept of what this will become in the future. And financially, it's even more helpful, because you know how much you're going to have to save for phase 2. So yeah, we try to guide them that way as well.
And the only thing is, you mentioned the remodeling process with the example of your kitchen. This is the trickiest, I would say, of all if it's new construction or building in phases. Remodeling is the most difficult to predict, because you never know what you're going to find. I had clients one time that they say, I'm a doctor and I know exactly when I'm fixing a patient what is going to happen inside. Well, yeah, it's not the same, because pretty much all bodies are made the same way, but the building, you don't know a building from 30 years ago, 20 years ago. We have found bottles of some old refresh
Coca-Cola bottles inside the walls.
Inside the walls,
Wow.
because the worker was there and they just poured the concrete and he just left his bottle in the wall. So you never know what you're gonna find, and where that, especially with old
buildings.
Old buildings that they don't have the technical information available anymore for some reason. So remodeling is tricky. New construction is easier to
For us,
predict.
yeah.
Right.
And to quote.
And to quote, yeah.
Right, which makes a lot of sense. So if people want to hire you for a consultation or they're interested in finding out more about all your work, where do they go? Where do they find you?
Well, if they're in Cabo, they can come to our office. We are in Cabo San Lucas, but 99% of our clients are
We
not in
always
Cabo.
have coffee and pastries.
Oh, I like
And,
that.
Yes, come in.
It's our webpage, www.architectsbythesea.com. Or in Instagram, we are a little bit more active in Instagram. We put a little bit more of our day-to-day life or new projects that we're starting, because in the webpage it's some examples, but the Instagram is more accurate if some people want to see what we are actually doing. So it's also at Architects by the Sea.
And more, a little bit more about us as persons.
Yeah, and in our
Not just our project, our pretty pictures of projects and renderings, but also who we are, what we do, what we like. So it's a little bit more informal, maybe.
yeah, because we are also moms, we are also party girls.
Because
Wives.
living in Mexico gives you that lifestyle, right? So it's awesome.
Yeah.
And we actually have very good relationship with our clients, even with the ones that we worked for 4 years ago. We still see them whenever they come. We go to dinner. They've been to our houses. We like to. I mean, it's something important for us. Our relationship with our clients is very close, very intimate. I always tell them, we're gonna be designing your underwear drawers, so that's how intimate our relationship's gonna get. We know everything when it comes to couples. You have to do sometimes some counseling and find the middle ground between them. Someone wants this, someone wants that. So we end up having like a very close relationship with them as we become friends in the end. So I think that's important. If they're looking for corporate projects, we can do that as well. But when it comes to a home, we're very close. We like keeping that relationship because we need to know a lot about your habits and how you live your day by day. So
And you said it, it's Mexico, because Mexico is warm. It's warm. The people are warm. I'm Bulgarian and I'm Mexican now. You adapt that. You love it. I mean, it possesses you. The
warmth.
Yeah, this friendly behavior.
Yeah,
And
it's just
smiling all the time and being happy. See, this is what you find in Mexico, and I think you know it very well because
You've been around Mexico.
yeah, this is what keeps us here.
yes, and plenty of days of sunshine helps too. So
Oh yeah,
for sure. We have like 2 days of rain a year.
yeah. We take pictures when it's raining.
I know.
We go out and get wet because it's like a miracle. No cloudy
amazing.
days in Baja.
Ladies, thank you so much. This has been great.
No, thank
Thank you very much.
It was
It's been
lovely.
a pleasure, and we hope to see you soon here.